Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gabbing with Gabby. Today, I have a special guest. It's my niece, Nicole Horneth. She's a licensed professional therapist. And funny side story, we just did an entire interview for 40 minutes and I didn't hit record. So we're starting all over again. Real life, real people, real life, real things happening. So
Yeah,
we had such a great conversation. We're going to try and recreate it.
no promises.
So Nicole, like I said, is a licensed professional therapist. She was in the school system, and then about 13 days into her new job, she COVID hit. She got a job on March 1st. 13 days later, COVID hit,
COVID.
and it was like either direction she went in, it was like I could have lost my job at this end or I could have lost my job at that end. But it ended up being a great job, and it ended up being way more fulfilling than the other one. So thanks, Nicole, for being on here a second time. The
Lovely.
first time was a trial run. We totally know what we're going to talk about now.
Totally. The whole direction. Didn't forget anything.
Yeah, right. I don't have to worry about editing anything weird. So perfect.
No, we're gonna go
Okay.
perfect.
Anyway, here we are doing this interview again. And thank you, Nicole. Thanks so much for being on here. So
Of
let's
course.
talk about getting into this job and what you were doing before, working in the school system.
So beforehand, right out of school, I got this therapeutic day treatment job. And essentially what that is it's like an outpatient therapy. So the normal like shrink therapy that you go to, and it's inside the school. So anytime the kids have like an outburst or they're having like severe ADHD that they just cannot focus, we go to the classroom, take the kids out, do a little intervention with them, and put them right back in so that they can actually focus on school. Um, it's a great program. It's amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. There was just like differences, not even differences, I don't want to say that, but difficulties with that job in particular. I was starting to have panic attacks 3 times a week. It was just an overload, lots of issues with very little support. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
What
what
was
had
causing those panic attacks?
so I had started as a counselor there, so I had my own little 8-person caseload. And then oddly enough, 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, 2 months, which I didn't say this beforehand, so new information. 2 months
Yeah.
into me starting that job, my boss quit. And I was the only license eligible, which was like me and my residency. So I'd finished school. I was just under residency for two
Hmm.
years. So I was the only license eligible person. So I was the only person that could do that job. So to keep
Yeah.
the program going, I had just kind of picked that up on my off time, did
Hmm.
assessment, went and pretty much did intakes for them so that we can continue to grow the program. And a month into that, they were like, I'd rather just pay the difference. Let's just, do you want the job? So I got promoted
Yeah.
within 3 months. And then a year later, we added a whole other city, Suffolk County. And so I went from 8 kids to I was overseeing 150. And so
Whoa.
the kids, their issues, the parents, the administration, my boss, the company forever changing. It was a lot to handle, and there was very little like support on any end. So lots of panic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you were um not actually looking for another job. It kind of
Yeah,
came to you, didn't it?
intrinsically kind of like putting my feelers out there, seeing what I could get.
Hmm.
And I actually went to dinner with one of the girls that I had gone to school with. There were 3 of us. We had gone through like literally everything together. The interview to get
Yeah.
into school. We took all the classes together. We took all our tests together.
Hmm.
Kind of ended up going our separate ways during residency. One of them had actually interned with me at the same time. So I had dinner with her, and she ended up marrying a therapist who had his own practice. And she's like, we're really looking for therapists, and, you should come on. And I was like, I don't know, like, maybe not. And he actually messaged me and was like, hey, she's been talking about you a lot. Like, would you be up for maybe just coming in and like meeting? So I was like, yeah, I guess, fine, whatever. And met with him. The vibe was right. He's like, just tell me if you want to come work. And so I mean, I did. I was like, I can't be here anymore. It's too much. So I
Mhm.
made the switch for my mental health, and 13 days later, COVID hit and the school system changed completely to where it's not even recognizable anymore. And I can't imagine how they're doing that job right now. So it's kind of a blessing in
Right.
disguise. Because for me, all I had to do was
Mhm.
telehealth, which is a whole different ball game. But
Mhm.
had a job.
Yeah, because right, if you were still in the school system, I mean, you don't even know if your job would exist, right?
No, there's no kids in school. How could there be that program that was in there?
Right, how would they know to send that particular kid to, unless they made it available, but it doesn't matter because now you have this job,
Right.
and which was a blessing in disguise because it turned
Yeah.
out, yeah, it
Mhm.
turned out working out great for you, but unfortunately 13 days in, it's like, COVID, nobody can come and see you in person. Now you have to meet
Right.
all these people via telehealth, and that's kind of a weird thing for people. I know people don't even want a virtual train. They're like, "I can't do it. It's
Right.
too weird."
I mean, it's impersonal and it's hard because, you're in the situation, especially now being a year into COVID almost, you're in the environment that you're stressed about. So it's like if you go to therapy, you come in, you have a safe zone, you're kind of, this is
Mhm.
calming, it's the lighting is nice, the chairs are comfortable. And no, you're sitting on your bed that you sleep in every day, probably lay in 24/7, and you're telling some stranger about your problems when the problems are sitting in your house with your kids or your husband or your wife or your roommate or your dog, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, right, you can't find a safe place. I know I gotta go in my car when
Yeah.
I'm doing my telehealth. I'd sit in my car, and which I don't think is any better. I mean, it's weird to sit in my car looking on
Yeah.
the phone. Fortunately for me, I already knew her in person,
Right.
so it just was not a hard transition, but I would be uncomfortable, I know, if it was, like, my first time meeting a therapist, because
Yeah.
something about this screen that it just makes it really impersonal, and then,
Mhm.
like you said, which I didn't think about that before, you're trying to get when you go to therapy, you're actually leaving the space that you have the problems in and entering a safe little space where you can really just let everything out.
Right.
When you're
Right.
sitting in that same room and somebody's next, you think that maybe someone next door can hear you, you might hold back a little bit about what you want to
Right.
say,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
then you can't move forward. And
Right.
you see all ages. Um,
Yep. All
yeah.
ages. So I
And
think my
what's
young
the biggest thing? 10?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And what's the most common thing that you're hearing with people who are coming to you?
Right now is a lot of like anxiety and depressive symptoms,
Mhm.
which makes sense. I mean, we have lost all semblance of what life used to be. So I'd like to differentiate that between depression and grief. Um,
Yeah.
because you're grieving, the entire
Yeah.
routine has changed. And where in the beginning it was amazing. Like you mean I get to stay home and work from home? Like absolutely. Now it's like get
Yeah.
me out of the house. Like I don't care what it is. I'll go grocery shopping. I'll go do this, or just taking a drive. It's confining. Life as we know it is completely different. And people are grieving that whole process. Even if you were able to work during
Mhm.
all of this, being a nurse or first responder or whatever the case may be, um, the rest of life is completely different. Like my job
Mhm.
didn't change. I get up, I go to the office every day, even if I have telehealth clients at this point, because Virginia is not as closed down as California right now. So I
Mhm.
do have clients that do come in, but I mean, after work, I can't go hang out with friends or I can't go play sports
Mhm.
like I usually do. So it's totally different.
Mhm. Yeah, it's pandemic fatigue, which is
Yes.
a real thing. And even Mark was saying the other day, I'm just so sick of it. And it's like, yeah, you do get sick of the same routine over and over. And before, when you used to be able to go places, and if you think about it, like you were able to go to work and you weren't, because working from home is very, like a luxury, right? You're like, ooh,
Yeah.
you get to work from home. Now everyone's like, I just can't. Mark's on his computer and on Zoom meetings for 8 hours straight, just sitting there looking at this screen like this for 8 hours
Right.
straight. So he can't wait to get out of our little bedroom
Yeah.
and outside. He comes out every so often and we'll walk in the backyard, get some fresh air. But yeah, it is fatiguing. And you're the first person that I've heard that says we're grieving
Hmm.
what we used to have, because it's true, we are grieving this life. We did have a lot of liberties, not that that's never going to come back, but you do kind of feel sad that, oh, I wish I can go to the movies, or I wish I can, you know go to a baseball game, or for me, Disneyland. Like, I literally watch
Yeah.
DFB. I'm always giving a shout out to DFB, Disney Food Blog. I will post that link in the description below. They're great.
Yes.
But I've watched that YouTube channel religiously. Elijah and I have, and I mean, there's times where it just brings me to tears because I'm
Hmm.
just so sad that I so miss that part. That's something that brought me so much joy
Yeah.
in my life.
Right.
And when I think about it being missing, I get really, really sad inside. I know it's ridiculous, it's Disney, but you can replace that with literally anything, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
yeah, that you can do anymore. But yeah, so you do feel a little bit of grief of, oh, I miss that life, which grief is depression, it is
Yeah.
sadness, and you have to feel those emotions. What do you tell people? What kind of suggestions do you give them to help them get through the day and kind of change up their routine?
The thing right now is validation. A lot of people are feeling emotions that they haven't felt in the past or that they haven't recognized
Hmm.
in the past. And, I don't know why this is happening. Everything's fine. I can pay my bills. My family is healthy. Like, I don't understand why I'm so upset or so anxious or
Hmm.
whatever. But, just validating, like, yes, those
Hmm.
are legit feelings. And sometimes your body, like, really just needs to feel it, because the more you
Hmm.
ignore it, the more you push it down, the longer you're going to feel it and the more intense you're going to feel it too. So my biggest thing is set an alarm, 20, 30 minutes, whatever you think is good for you, your body, and sit there and feel that emotion and feel upset and
Hmm.
feel sad, feel overwhelmed, feel just numb if you need to. But the minute that alarm goes off, get up, take a shower, do what you need to do, and just have that self motivation.
Yeah, that's hard. And if you ignore it, the more you ignore it, the deeper you get into that
Ah,
hole, right? And the tinier that light at the end of the tunnel gets, because it just it's too much. It's
mhm.
overwhelming. It just kind of feels like I just can't. But if you just let it out a little bit in
Yeah,
a safe place, you got to find a safe place. I like this idea of setting the alarm, because the alarm is almost like, okay, snap out of it. Let's
right,
let's go. You felt it. If you need to put your game face on now, you need to put your game face on and go to work or do whatever. And then
right.
when you come back, you can go right back into laying down and crying and feeling and sad. And it's okay. It's okay to
Oh,
feel sad
absolutely.
and cry. Because do you have people coming to you like, I shouldn't feel this way.
Yeah,
I should be able to, I should this, I should that, I should
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah. And the biggest thing is like self care. And we're all in a routine right now, and it sucks
Hmm.
because it's not productive. And even if you don't like to be a productive person, just getting that little bit of accomplishment can
Hmm.
do wonders. So my other big thing is to have a self-care day, time, hour. Before we realized we weren't recording, this is what I was going to tell you, is
Okay.
that during our we have meetings every other week just to, chat, get like-minded things at work. And somebody said that she puts an appointment in her calendar just as if it was a doctor's appointment or something, that
Mm.
it's in a meme appointment. And a lot of the times when people say, you need to do self-care, either they think it's selfish or you need an entire
Mhm.
day. You really don't. If it's 10 minutes that you can take a deep breath or do a mindfulness or hit something, go and scream somewhere, like whatever makes you feel good, do it. Set an appointment in your calendar for this is a me appointment, and nothing, just like it was a doctor's office, you have a cancellation fee. You cannot do these things, nothing interrupts
Right.
it. So like mine is Thursdays. I always joke, I post it on my social media all the time. It's mommy
Yeah.
baby day. Doug goes to
Yeah.
trivia. Teddy and I have our own little date night
Yeah.
where we watch a Disney movie that we want to watch that day. We have our favorite food, we eat ice cream, and we color. And it's like, that's
Oh,
my
I
me
love
time.
it.
And it's so
Yeah.
relaxing, and it just really resets your kind of emotional clock at that point. And
Yes.
it's so needed.
Yeah, you do need it. And in the fitness world, I'm always telling people you got to move your body. You have to move. So the going into 2021, I did this. I'm doing this. It's not a challenge. It's more like an encouragement kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
minutes moved. You're going to track how many minutes you move. At the end of each month for the next 3 months, you'll send me your tally of minutes, and
Yeah.
then the top three movers, you'll get a little prize. Like I send them like a few of my favorite things. You know what I mean? And some people got 4,000 minutes in January. I mean, they were just moving. Yeah, some of these ladies, I'm telling you what, I mean, they're much older than I am, but
Put
they're
the
just
Fitbit on
going
their
for
jaw.
walks, they're doing Zumba, they're going to my class, they're just constantly on the move. But other
Yeah.
people got 2,000 minutes. I mean, it just move your body, go outside.
Mhm.
And in a place like this in San Diego, it's beautiful out. It's like 70
Yeah.
degrees this weekend. It's beautiful. You go for a walk, step outside, get some fresh air. Just move your body. Moving your body is so important to your
Oh yeah.
mental and emotional health. It's not just your physical body, it's a huge part of your mental and physical health.
Mhm.
And taking care of your body, resting your body. On the flip side, taking care and resting your body is so important. So if you're on the other extreme where you constantly move and you don't take a break, you need to rest your body too. But I love the idea of setting an appointment and you can't cancel on yourself. And it just, if you've never done it before, at the very least, start small with an attainable goal of like, I'm just going to do 15 minutes.
Right.
15 minutes, I'm
Exactly.
going to sit down and have my cup of coffee or my cup of tea, and I'm just going to sit and maybe play my game on my phone. That's just me where I check out for me, you know,
Right.
and then build the time up from there.
Right.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I heard it. I was like, that's amazing. Because a lot of people, like, if I know this is not a thing in California, but if friends call and are like, oh, hey, let's go do this. Oh, sorry, I have an appointment. Like, people are much more apt to be like, oh, okay, versus, no, I need some me time. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, you will get a pushback from some people like, what? Come
it's like,
on,
what
we
do you
could just do it
mean?
another time,
Right.
because they don't give themselves permission to do it. So now they're
Right.
kind of trying to take you down with their ship.
Right. Right. I have an appointment. Sorry. Like, have an
That's
appointment at
true.
least once a week. At least once a
Yes.
week.
Yeah, people won't kind of balk at like, oh, they won't even, a lot of times they won't even ask, like, what appointment? They'll just go, oh, okay. They're just,
Yeah.
unless they're nosy. And at that point, you're like, I have a doctor's appointment. You could just lie, whatever.
Right. Right.
you know? But if your friends aren't going to support you in self care, you may want to rethink about that
Reevaluate.
friend. Yeah, reevaluate that relationship with that friend, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
you mentioned before, working with kids, and that was really something that you still love, and that
Oh, yeah.
that you really feel drawn to. So what drew you to working with kids?
A lot of time with mental health, we learn in school, adults at this point have gone through their traumas, gone through their struggles, if trauma is a strong word, and learn to cope with them their own ways, which aren't necessarily effective or healthy. So it's really hard to kind of change that mindset, kind of like teaching an old dog new tricks type of thing. And they
Hmm.
pass it on to
Don't
their
I
kids.
know it?
Yes, all of that good stuff. I mean, it's possible to change, but it takes so much
Of
more because
course.
you have to
Hmm.
unlearn things and then relearn. And it's a whole
Hmm.
process. Versus kids, it's kind of like getting in on the ground level. Like, they don't have those coping skills set yet. Yes, at like middle school, which is what I absolutely love, they kind of at that point have taught themselves a little bit or have learned from their
Hmm.
parents. I don't know if you can hear Teddy. He's snoring like a grown man right now. Um, but getting it on the ground
Teddy's
level
the
and
dog. Teddy's
teaching
the dog.
them,
Isn't that a little baby? He's a furry baby.
still snoring like a grown man, like louder than I'm talking. Um, but you get in on the ground level and you like teach them the good coping skills and the, the emotional regulation that they need when they have those outbursts. Because at teenage level, not only are you dealing with like the world, but you're dealing with the increase in hormones and all of those
Mhm.
changes that we loved when we were 13 and just and
Mhm.
being a teenager right now is the worst thing ever.
It really is. They're really missing out on a lot. I have to give you props, Nicole, because the other day I texted, we're all on a text string, my two
Okay.
sisters and Nicole and myself. So we text each other every day. And the other day I just was having a moment where I was taking things a little too personally, and
Yeah.
I was like, "You guys, I know this is my time in the ringer with my kids. You know, I can't approach Kaya without her being like."
Yeah. Which 13, just yeah.
Right. Like she totally, it doesn't matter what I was saying. I just would go in, "Hey, how are you doing? What are you doing?" "I'm at school. I'm doing work, you know." And
Yeah.
after a while, like I know that it's not about me, but it got too much that I was kind of crying, you know? Like I started taking it personally, so I've reached out to you guys. And you said, and this has stuck with me and I've passed it on to my friends who have teenage girls. You said your very existence is annoying to her.
Yeah, it is. The fact that you breathe is like
And
the worst thing.
yeah, and for whatever reason, it clicked. It all clicked. It was like, "Ding, ding, 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 ding." You're right. My very existence, me being her mom, it doesn't matter. Other people see me. I'm cool. I know I'm cool. I'm a cool mom. I know it. They won't know it until they have their own kids, but I
Exactly.
know I'm cool.
Right.
But they don't know it. I'm still their mom. And it all clicked for me. And I have to go back and remember what it was like when I was a kid. And I hated everything my mom said. There wasn't anything my mom could say that wasn't annoying to me as a
Right.
teenager. And of course, now I've apologized to my mother several times. I will still apologize to you, mom. I'm so sorry. I was the worst teenager. I was so bad. I was so bad. Thank you. Thank you, whoever up there, for giving me the kids that I have now. Because it could have been bad, man. I was really
Yeah.
a bad kid. But that really stuck with me. And my approach to her has been different. Now I'll go in there and go, "Hey," and I'll say something about me. "I'm gonna go blah blah blah," or "Hey, look what I bought," or "Hey, check this out. Can you, look at something?" And she's
Yeah.
so much more responsive. If I don't invade her space
Right.
by and like invading her space is literally asking her how she's feeling. She doesn't want
Oh,
anything to do with it. She knows that I'm there for her. But now I go in and I'll just say, "Hey, what's up?" And she'll like, "Yeah, nothing." I'm like, "Okay, I'll see you later." And that's it. And I walk out. And I
yeah.
give her a wide berth of space. And she is so much more responsive to me. It
Yeah.
really makes a big difference. So I know that being a teenager totally sucks right now because they're just stuck doing nothing.
Right.
That, you know, in a normal life, my kids would not be home right now. They would
No.
have a whole life outside of here,
Yeah.
you know, doing things with their friends, having secrets with their friends, building a life that is detaching from their parents. This is where they start to detach from their parents. And we're all hanging out. Like you guys, you should be hanging out with your friends. You should be going out on walks with your mom and your dad.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole time. This is
But
like the time that they do find their independence and they become their
yep,
own people, but they're stuck in the house with the people that want to pull them in and hold them closer just a little bit longer, which
yeah,
it's natural on all ends. It's natural for you to want to like know just a little bit more time
mm,
because she's the baby and she's not a baby
yeah,
anymore. But at
yeah,
the same time, it's like they have one outlet and it is their phones and their social media and things like that. And with that, I mean, justifiably, there's so many things. I mean, the horror stories I hear about social media with kids now, I
hmm
wouldn't even get into it because you would take their phone immediately. But, that's
yes,
their only outlet right now. And with that being hindered, it becomes they have now no outlets. And, then you get
hmm
the hormones and the anger and I hate life right now. And I mean, depression
yeah,
in
and
teens right now is insane.
and you also mentioned drug use too.
Yes. Yes. And that's hesitantly I say, they're getting it on Snapchat. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Yes. God. Yes. I'm like, I don't understand how this my kids make me feel so old and I'm not even 30 yet. So
Yet,
I'm gonna
yet.
hold on to that for a couple more months. But I mean, it's ridiculous. So I'm like, yeah, your parents should monitor that stuff. But then at the same time, it's like you have nowhere else to turn, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to monitor. I mean, you certainly should have their, if they're, young, like in middle school age, you should have
Yeah.
their logins and their, because
Yeah.
she flat out said, "Can I have a spam Instagram account?" We're like, "Why?"
Oh, it's a
I mean,
thing.
it's odd that she's asking permission. I mean, I guess I should appreciate that she's asking
Yes.
permission, but we said, "Sure, we won't follow you, but we need to be able to log in if
Yeah.
if we feel it's necessary." Why? Well, then why do you need to have one that's private?
Right. It's just literally every single one of my teens has a spam account that their parents don't know about. So it's great that, she at least came
I mean,
to
she
you. But
probably has one. She probably has one.
she'd follow
We
me, I
haven't
tell
looked.
you. Yeah, don't cut that out. She was gonna
Okay. Yeah,
just
we'll
kidding.
take that one out.
We'll take it out.
They don't watch any of my videos. So rude.
Jerks.
Yeah, right. I'm
What
like,
do they
at
do
the
on
very
their
least,
phone?
yeah, right. At the very least, subscribe to my channel. You guys, I would have 3 subscribers built in.
What jerks? The
They have now.
support.
They have now. I've pushed them to. Yeah. Life as a kid now is so different
Yeah.
than life as a kid when I grew up and when you grew up. And you grew up
Yeah.
as a military kid
Yeah.
and you had a lot of different freedoms. I
Yeah.
grew up with very strict parents, but you didn't because, of course, we try and do things different than what our parents did. There's inevitably you're going to do things that are the same because you don't have any other pictures in your head.
Right.
But then, of course, you do things different. And as a military kid, you find out that you're pretty resilient as a kid,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
how many times did you move and how often did you move?
We moved every 3 years like clockwork. If we were lucky, we lived, I think the math on it is in 20 years, we moved 10 times.
Yeah, list them all. List all the states.
So I was born in Florida. Then we went to Massachusetts where Jimmy was born, moved to Connecticut, stayed there for a little bit because dad's sub was being commissioned. It then
Yeah.
went to Hawaii where we met it. Lauren was born. Then we
Yeah.
went to Florida for like 9 months, which Jimmy doesn't remember, which is weird because he
Yeah.
swears we didn't live there. We totally did. We went to
Okay.
South Carolina. Well, the only reason that's a big thing is because we used to go to Disney all the time. And Jimmy's like, I
Yeah.
would never get sick of Disney. Yeah, you did,
I
actually.
remember you guys. I think you guys had a pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. We went after school every
Yeah.
Friday. It was great. So after
Yeah.
South Carolina, we
Oh,
moved to Italy, which was my favorite.
yeah.
Um, Italy to California, spent it with you for 3 years, which was awesome. And
Yeah.
then we moved to Hawaii for 5 years so Jimmy and I could finish high school. And then we moved to Virginia when I was 20.
Yeah. And as an adult, do you move a lot?
Yes. So I found that one big thing the military lifestyle has installed in me is that I have to have a huge life change every 3 years. And if I don't, I literally go crazy. So since living in Virginia for 10 years, I have moved from my parents' house to college. After college, I moved to North Carolina. After North Carolina, I moved to an apartment. Then I moved apartments every year. And then I bought my house 2 years ago now? Well, a year and a half
Yeah.
ago. So in a year and a
Yeah.
half, we'll see where I end up.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll probably be like, Doug, we need to sell this house and move.
Yeah. Or
Well,
get married.
everybody's
I
going.
said it loud enough so he could hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's moving to North Carolina. So
Yeah.
you got to move there too.
Well, at least we'll be closer and it's not a 45-minute drive from me. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, you moved around a lot and
Mhm.
you've made a lot of friends along the way, but
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you who you are now.
Mhm.
It didn't break you. And it's funny because before we mentioned how the three of you, or actually two of the three of you, did
We're
okay with
going
moving,
good. Yeah.
but the last one not so great.
Lauren is not into change. Jimmy and I mean, we knew it like clockwork. Year one, we
Yeah.
were there, we explored. Year two, dad got orders. Year three, we were up, packed, moving on. It took Lauren a year to accommodate or acclimate to it. Then on year two, we had to get her ready for year three so that she wouldn't be devastated. I mean, it was terrible. She hated it. And
Yeah.
she had to move here,
Yeah.
granted. She had to move here her freshman year. So that was
Yeah.
hard. I
Yeah,
get it.
that's
I moved
hard.
our sophomore year, so I understand starting high school in a
Mm,
whole place, but she's never been one to
yeah.
acclimate. I don't know.
Yeah, it's different when you're, um, you're when you move and you're little, when you're little, it's, little kids have no problem making friends,
No.
most of them. Maybe I shouldn't say that across the board, but they'll say, yeah, that's okay. We'll say a lot of little kids, they just have
Yeah.
no problem talking to people and making friends. Middle school is a little awkward.
Yeah.
And then high schools, yeah, it's tough because,
Yeah.
usually you're entering a school where already pods have already been created, unless you join a group or, band or theater or something like that.
Right.
And then
Right.
you kind of find your people that way.
Right.
That
I
makes it
found
harder when you
that
move.
all except California, which is weird. Well, maybe not as weird because we didn't live near the military base. You kind of always find your pod of kids because there's always a
Hmm.
group of military kids. And it's like,
Yeah,
where are they? And you kind of go, and I can't explain it really. It's just like a group of people that you instantly become friends with because you guys have the same upbringing and growing up and kind of lifestyle, if that makes any sense.
right. Well, you kind of can empathize
Yeah.
with each other, and you kind of talk like the same language almost. You're like you're
Yeah.
talking this military kid language. You guys get it. You get it. We're like,
Right.
we
Like,
know we're
where'd
going to
you
be
move
friends.
from? Where'd we do
Yeah,
this? Like,
right.
yeah, we knew
And
that.
this relationship's going to be temporary, but we're cool with it. Like we have this understanding
Right.
that
Because if I didn't move, you did. So it was very, yeah.
yeah, I don't do well with people moving. I get very sad when people move, especially from here, because I know they're never going to come back. It's
Yeah.
very hard to leave California and then move back to California,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it is very expensive to live here. So most people leave and they just never come back. And it's not that I lose them, they're just not in my life
Right.
on a regular basis like they were
Right.
before.
Right.
So I'm always like, no, please don't leave.
See, that's another thing
Like
that I don't think we talked about is that, like, some people have that I need to be every day connected. I can go weeks
yeah,
without talking to my friends and I don't feel any type of way about it because it's that very, we're there when we can be. And if we can't, then okay, but it doesn't change anything. Like my best friend, Tina, she lives in Hawaii. I haven't seen her since I've been back there, but I know that when I go there, we immediately pick up right where we left off. And it's just that mentality,
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I do have some friends that are like that. I mean, I have my best friend, shout out to Sandy. Hi, Sandy. Since middle school, and there was maybe a short time where we didn't communicate.
Yeah.
But there is very rarely a day that goes by that we don't talk somehow, some way via
Right.
technology with each other. But she's one of my oldest friends. I don't
Yeah.
have what my kids have, where they have friends from preschool and from
Yeah.
kindergarten and
I
have
don't get that.
grown up in the same neighborhood, I mean, I
Right.
only had that till I was in 5th grade. My sisters had that all through until they went to college. They lived in the same place all the way up until
Yeah.
they went to college, but I didn't. I mean, I we moved, and I changed schools. I changed schools way more than they did.
Yeah.
But so our 3 different lives we lived in the same house, but we lived 3 different lives. And one day I'm going to get them on here and we're going to talk about all our 3 different
Oh, I can't
experiences.
wait for that. Which was
I
my
know they don't.
idea.
I know it was your idea. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it would be an interesting conversation, right? Because you're all, even you guys, I mean, you're a siblings of three siblings, and you guys have different experiences. Even your just approach at moving is very different,
Yeah.
and I think the number of that you're in, what number you fall in the category of
Oh,
siblings
changes it
makes a big
completely.
difference.
Yeah.
and the years between you make a big
Oh yeah.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah,
all that
definitely.
stuff makes a big difference. So
Yeah,
yeah. So number one takeaway from this conversation is definitely take care of yourself and
absolutely.
don't be afraid to ask for help. Even if you live in a place where your only option is telehealth,
Hmm.
it's better than nothing. You need to
Yeah.
be able to reach out and talk to somebody. And telehealth, it's fine. It's good.
It's yeah.
Once I think once you get past that initial um introductory, like I mean it's a little awkward even meeting in person where you're like, I gotta talk
Right.
to this
That's the
stranger
thing.
now.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
weirdest concept to sit across from somebody you've never met before and to tell them your deepest, darkest secrets. Like, no, I don't like being on the other side of the couch and I do this for a living. So I understand how absolutely like weird it
Hmm.
is, but it's
Yeah.
necessary. There's something about an impartial third party that will not judge you and has no horse in that race essentially that is so freeing and calming.
It really is. And be okay um with feeling your feelings,
Yeah.
and and having that time to yourself is really important to help you heal and go through the grieving process. I'd be interested to see if something comes out where there's some steps of grieving during a pandemic. There's got to
There
be,
has to be.
right?
Well, I might do
Yeah.
that for my doctorate, so we'll see. Who knows?
Oh, you should. You should, because it really, I think it really is. I mean, and the only way you would know is if you were in it. And now we're
Right.
in a year, and you can see, like you said in the beginning, it was like, this is awesome. We all get to stay home. Well, we thought it was only going to be 2 weeks, right? We were all
Right.
like, we get
I
to
don't have to
stay
wear
home.
pants. This is great,
Yeah,
you
right.
know.
We get to
Mhm.
watch all those Netflix. Tiger King was out. That was when Tiger King came out, and everybody's like, "Did you see Tiger King?" It was like all these good things. And then it started to be like, okay, I need to go to the store.
Right. Right.
And now it's like, all right, I'm over it.
Right. Exactly.
Although I have to admit, I'm not a big shopper anyway. I love going to Trader Joe's. That's my favorite. But I do love the drive up pickup at Target. Like, I don't have to go into Target, and
Yeah.
they literally just put it in my trunk. I show like, here's my code, and then that's it. I do
COVID is
love
like
that
an
part.
introvert's best friend, like minimal
It really is.
contact. It's great. No, not
It really
really
is. So
though.
some of those things, yeah, some of those things are good that came out of it, like this drive
Yeah.
up, and delivery into your car. I really love that part. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of things I do miss. But so make an appointment for yourself on your
Yes.
calendar. Start today and start with 15 minutes. Start small. Find a day, like a Sunday, a day that you know that you're not going to get distracted or pulled away. If you have little kids and you're trying to make a 15-minute appointment with yourself in the middle of their school day, don't, because
No.
inevitably something's going to happen, right? They're going to need your help. Someone's going to pull you away. Don't set yourself up for failure. Set yourself up
Right.
to succeed so that you'll want to make that appointment again. You want to start building those feelings of feeling good and wanting to come back to that feeling of feeling good. These are the things that you want to foster.
And the
Go
biggest
ahead.
thing with that is a lot of the time our hesitation is like the unknown or having to
Oh,
choose
yes.
something. So my other thing for that, make a joy jar, put things in there that make you feel joy and you just out
Ooh,
take the indecision out of it and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing for 15 minutes and call it a day.
I love that. A joy jar.
Joy jar. TM. Not
Ooh,
yet.
I think I'm gonna do this with my family though. I mean, I know what already brings me joy. Like, so I don't have any problem with figuring that out, but it would be fun with your family unit, right? When you're just trying
Yeah.
to stay connected and keep things not so monotonous for them. I have two teenagers, so really, like we mentioned before, they should be living a life on their own. But sometimes you
Right.
got to kind of pull them out of their cave, like, come on out.
Yeah. Forced family fun is what we call it in my house.
Yes, that's right. You do call it forced family fun. Yeah, I love playing games. And your brother and Michael, my other nephew,
Yeah.
which I've interviewed before, they love playing games. So
They
when they
do.
come and visit, I'm like, game on. We're gonna play games nonstop. We're gonna play my Lord of the Rings Risk, which is always
Oh,
here. This is actually for This is actually, I have a stack of puzzles and stuff, and this is on the top because I have to put my computer on top of it. It's my riser
Yeah.
for when I teach. But like, like all my games that nobody will play with me, they'll play. But sometimes, I have to make, I have to do something to kind of get them out and have us connect because we're here all the time. We're like,
Hmm.
I see you all the time, all
Right.
day,
Right.
24 hours a day. I don't, but there's something to be said about let's put our devices away and talk
Yeah.
and, just connect with each other. So we don't do it all the time, but we do it sometimes where we're going to put our phones away, just put it in the other room and we'll play a game. And you
Yeah.
you find out like, oh, this is actually quite pleasant. We're talking, we're laughing, we're teasing each other,
Yep.
and there's no distractions.
Hmm.
Yeah. Forest family fun.
Forest family fun.
Nicole, thank you so much for being on here.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you for doing it a second time where I
Yeah.
actually recorded. The
You're
second time
welcome.
was just as good too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we hit
But we were
everything.
in a yeah, we were in a groove. We were literally in a groove. And then I went, oh, Nicole, I
Oh
forgot
my
to record.
god. Oh well, it happened.
Real life, real people, real talking, and real advice, real things. So make a little joy jar, schedule some time to take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself first so that you
Yes.
can be kind to others and give to others. So thank you so much, Nicole,
You're
for
welcome.
being on here. And we'll see you guys next time on Gabbing with Gabby. Bye.